Jessica.
Hi, David.
How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I am excellent.
How's your day? We've been working together all day. I don't know how we still do this, but
Work together?
Yes, but we're in a different environment when we're here at the Hardware
I
Hipster
know.
table.
We've had some adventures recently.
Yeah, we've gone very rogue, but now we're bringing it back into Bridgeport, and
It's nice to be back.
it is great to be back.
Our little conference room here. It's pretty.
Yeah,
comfy.
we just said that while we were setting up. Like, it feels good to be back at the table
Yeah.
and doing our Hardware Hipster stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So speaking of,
Yeah.
what's today about?
Today we have we're talking about doors with cladding, and we have at the end. The last thing we're talking about is an exclusive product launch from Siemens.
Yes.
So,
Which is very exciting.
which is very exciting.
Yeah. So before we start that,
Mm-hmm.
we have to say our friends at Siemenswerk, or Simonswerk, depending how you say it.
I like Siemens.
I do too, but
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
say Simonswerk.
Right. Sure.
They were kind enough to gift us the beer for our episode.
And the glasses.
And the glasses. So this is, how do you say it? Nuglaris?
Nuglaris, I think. Yeah.
Nuglaris? I'm not sure.
Nuglaris Brewing Company.
Yeah.
In Wisconsin.
Only in Wisconsin.
Only in Wisconsin. The home of Siemenswerk North America.
Cheers.
Cheers.
This is a lovely ale.
It's called Spotted Cow.
I hope they're not spotted because they're sick.
I think they're supposed to.
Good. Yeah, it is very good. It's a very smooth, lovely ale.
It's a relaxing.
Thank you,
Mm-hmm.
Simonswerk North America.
Thank you very much.
So we're going to be talking a little bit about the evolution of the clad door options from Simonswerk TECTUS hinges.
Right.
So it started, at A, ended at B, and only continues to get better and better.
Right.
And not better, different, more innovative, and gives you more options.
More options.
Yeah,
right.
which
different
is great.
solutions.
Different solutions to different problems.
Right.
So where did it all begin, David? Tell us the fable.
The fable. The story of cladded doors.
Clad doors.
So it started with the 640A8 version.
Well, 88 series. There's the
8.
540 3D 88.
Right. Yes.
640 3D
3D
88.
And now
626 3D 88.
right.
You'll see the repetitive 88 there means what?
So the 8 it refers to the basically the setback here of the cladding from the face of the cladding to the face of your material.
Yes.
Is 8 millimeters.
So you can apply an 8 millimeter cladding to the front face of your door and your frame when you're using the 88 series of hinges.
Right.
I keep saying 88 because everybody asks, what does the 88 stand for?
Right.
I'm not sure about the A, but the 8 is the 8 millimeters of cladding.
Agreed.
Yes.
True.
Unclear about the A, but
Right.
the 8 we know.
So the 540A8 and the 640A have been around forever.
As long as we've been...
As long as we've been doing this.
At least a decade, yeah.
Yeah. And the 626 is newer, but still been around now for a little while. And the 626 is all stainless steel.
Correct. So yeah, in the same respect of the TECTUS hinges, the 540 3D A8, 640, 626 respectively A8, they just have higher weight capacities, physically larger, and then the 626 is stainless steel, fire rated,
Right.
and but they all allow the 8 millimeter cladding.
Right.
And that was originally designed for mirror, kind of as shown this one.
Yeah, that's why we have this.
Yeah.
Right?
Can you? I don't know if you can see the camera in it. Actually.
I don't know. Oh yeah. I didn't think about that. We should be that down.
I know.
And just so we have the hinge itself, this is a 640A8. So this is the same hinge that's in here.
Yep.
Right, but loose because we're going to use it for props later.
Yeah. And what the difference is with the A8 versus the regular is that it just has a wider thread, so the arms are further away from one another.
So this is a 640.
Yeah.
This is a 640A8, and you can see how the hinges are sort of spread apart further
To allow the cladding.
to allow the cladding.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that was the original thought was, people are putting mirrors on the front of the doors and the frames. But as time went on,
Siemenswerk said that's not good enough, right?
Well, Siemenswerk and the general public. I mean, we got calls all the time saying, well, I have a thicker cladding. I want to do a half inch or 3/4 inch cladding. How do I do that? And people were coming up with all sorts of wonky ways to do it that weren't really best practice ways of doing that, one would say.
Let's call it,
Yeah, mill workers and installers can do many magical things.
They're very inventive.
Yeah, very innovative, but there are best practices, and you always want to have the manufacturer come up with a solution. So they went for a thicker cladding, which is the
BW16 and BW20.
Which I thought originally meant Bridgeport Worldwide because we annoyed them so much, but I did ask and they confirmed that's not why they call it that.
Really?
Which is unfortunate.
I don't know. I feel like that's right.
It might be right. They might just be lying. or not telling us that we were that annoying, you know?
We'll see.
Yeah.
One of these days we'll get to the bottom of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is a bracket that allows, so the 16 BW16 is for a 16 millimeter cladding.
Yes. Kind of shown here on this mounted block, you can see a much thicker cladding, of course.
Right. Then, I can hold up the mirrored one.
Yeah. Very different. So much beefier cladding. Primarily wood cladding. I mean, people are doing stone and stuff too, but
you could do aluminum.
Yeah, you could do aluminum, but and it's great. I mean, you can see though the way that they kind of designed it was that the hinge is half in the cladding, half in the door.
Right.
Which people were again doing on their own, but it wasn't like the integrity of the connection wasn't fantastic, and you risked having your install screws hit right in between. So they came up with these brackets. Right.
So these brackets, again, 16 millimeters or 20 millimeters. 20 millimeters is 3/4 of an inch. Yeah. 16 is around 5/8. So you have a good amount of cladding that you can get on your door. Oh, yeah. Frame. Yes. Right? And so, but this works with the 640, the T640 3D hinge.
Only the 640
Only
hinge.
the 640.
Yes.
And it just fits, we have the 640 here. It fits right in there like that.
Yeah, so it basically sits behind the hinge.
Right. And it would be mounted.
Which way? Am I doing this wrong?
It would be mounted like this, like we have it.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
No, I'm sorry, like this. Right?
Yeah. So what happens is you have to notch your door, notch your cladding. And before you attach the cladding to the door, you're going to attach the bracket. So ultimately, you're going to be anchoring to the front face of the door. Right. Instead of trying to anchor into both materials.
Into the edge of the door.
Yeah, which is nice. It's taking that weight and redistributing it to the front face of the door. Right. And the frame, depending if you have cladding on both. You could do one or the other or both. Right. Which is cool. It's a really cool solution. It's awesome.
Really cool. Yeah. Really nice. But it's hard to visualize exactly where it's bolting in.
It is.
So
it's like a cross section.
Yeah. So you have it sitting right here.
Yeah, there you go. That's good.
Your hinge sitting on the other side.
Yeah, it's like hugging it from behind. It's like a nice bear hug from behind.
It's a bracket bear hug.
It's a bracket bear
There's
hug.
a lot of bears in Wisconsin. It's a bear hug bracket.
Yeah.
Should have made it the BH bracket.
Should have been the bear hug bracket. But it was a genius, way to figure out the problem that people were having. Right. And it's still available. It's still a super viable option. We still sell it all the time. But what was happening? Oh, one more thing to note is that when you do use these brackets, there is a slightly reduced weight capacity. Yeah, on the hinges. So if you're using the 640 with this, it's reduced to 120 kilograms.
That's right. And it also takes away the fire rating.
Takes away the fire rating. But again, these are interior doors. It doesn't really make that big of a difference. No. But they were running into some installation hiccups. Right. Because it's harder.
You have to mortise the hinge this way.
Thank you, shipping, for all that noise.
We really should go back to after hours.
Yeah, probably. Okay. Anyway, continue.
We have to do the routing of the door this way, but then you have to do the install of your bracket this way.
Yeah, and it made it more difficult because it's on you're routing on a different plane than the hinge. which made it a little bit harder. I mean, there's fantastic installers and millworkers out there that can do anything, and they are and still are able to do this.
Right.
And that's
why this isn't going anywhere.
It's not. But this is the exclusive.
This is the
exclusive, yeah. So what did they come out with now, David?
So now they have the BW1 bracket.
Ooh. The one solution to them all.
Yeah, it's very dramatic.
It is. It's nice. It's a good solution.
It's a good solution because it takes away that problem you were just talking about.
Yeah, this is what it looks like with the cover plate on. And what this, instead of the bear hug.
Right. This is just straight routing from one direction.
It sits next to it instead of behind it.
Right.
Yeah. So you can see here when you take the cover plate off, and we'll do some close-ups, of course, the bracket is sitting next to it instead of back here. It's now sitting over here, which just makes it easier for whoever's prepping the doors and installing them. You're just making the route wider, that's all.
Right.
And you're still getting the ability to do the 20 millimeter cladding.
Right.
Which is great.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it is really, I mean, if you're not a hardware hipster or, in the industry, it doesn't really sound exciting, but it's quite exciting. So
yeah, it's really exciting.
If you stumbled across this by accident, I understand why it's not exciting, but it's very exciting for us.
Nobody's stumbling across this by accident. We get like 20 views for real over videos. It's
very true.
So, but then there's caveats with this too, right?
Yeah.
So obviously you can see that there's cover plates, right?
Yeah.
So now there's finishes involved with the bracket as opposed to
just a hidden bracket. Yeah.
Right.
That you never see.
Right.
Which is true.
So,
but you don't ever see this. I mean, you see a wider cover plate.
We see a wider cover plate.
Yeah.
So this comes in the satin chrome look.
Yes.
Satin stainless steel look.
Yes. Black and white.
Black and white.
Very important.
Yes. And also stainless steel.
Yeah, because what we didn't mention is this is for use with the 640 640 3D88 and the 626 3D88. So you're taking what already was the wider throw hinge for the 8 millimeter cladding, and you're making it even more versatile because now you can do the 20 millimeter cladding.
Right.
Correct. Right?
So
yes, that was a correct statement.
That's a correct statement. So you're pushing it out even further.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So when you order the bracket, you order it as a kit with the cover plate and the bracket.
Right.
And then again, it depends if there's cladding on one side or both sides.
Right. It's a kit with the cover plate and the bracket, but it's only for one side of the hinge.
Yeah.
So for this application, you would need two of those.
Yeah.
In order
Absolutely.
to make it work. It's good to just identify that.
It is. And one can say that it's a thick hinge, it's pretty beefy, but these are concealed. The whole point is that they're concealed. There's no, break between the wall and the door, and everything's hidden. So you're never going to see them.
I mean, you have two kinds of, like the F1 and the SSL, which is a silver.
Yes.
Right? You have a white, you have a black.
There's options.
I mean, there's a lot of options to sort of blend it in.
Absolutely.
So, which is great.
It is. And this is a big thing for us. It's very exciting in the world of hardware. So
yeah. And now you have, right, you could go with the standard A8 hinge.
Yep.
We get you 8. You go up to 16, 20, different ways to mount it.
Yep.
They really have like a whole suite of products now to handle.
Clad doors.
Right.
We're glad that they're clad, David.
you
I had to say it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I guess it's out there now.
It exists, yeah. Okay. But you're absolutely right. There's different ways of achieving. I always say to people, there's different ways of getting to the same destination. And whether it's the BW20 or the BW1, it just depends on what you want to do, what you're able to install, what you can accommodate. And it's like you want a hug from the side or a hug from behind. Either way, it's a hug. Hugs are good.
I don't know if they were thinking of that when they designed this with hugging, but yeah.
No, but it is an innovative.
It's really cool. And allows a lot of different applications.
It does. And I mean, again, stone, wood, aluminum, anything you can think of. Now you can kind of you can do it, which is awesome. Yeah. And in the world of concealed hinges, there's not a lot of innovation going on. So like this is cool.
They're literally pushing the envelope.
Now who's choosing?
Okay. Well, you did one. I have to do one too.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching.
Thank you.
We've made it this far, and cheers.
Cheers.